Yun.
Dapat pala dito.
Para mas malakas. Sabi ko sa'yo, bumili ka na ng clapper.
This episode is brought to you by Radiant Medical Aesthetics, located at 2795 West Lincoln Avenue, Unit C, Anaheim, California, 92801. They offer rejuvenating facials, cosmetic injectables, body contouring. To book your appointment, call 714-886-2959 and tell them Paco or Janelle referred you to get the Live at Pacos Place discount. You may also visit them on the web at radiantbeautymd.com. Jay?
Hello. Ito naman, LDS Systems. Ayun nga. This episode is also brought to you by This episode is also brought to you by LDS Systems Inc. If you own a business and would like to build your back office to scale with your business growth, give LDS Systems a call to book your consultation. They aren't just an IT company, but a leader in dedicated solutions for your business. Give them a call at 800-73-8987 or visit them on the web at ldssystems.com.
Ayun na. Welcome to the podcast, Jj Buencamino. What's up, brother?
Thanks for having me. Dito rin naman ako. Pag wala ako rito sa harap, I'm behind the scenes.
pero maganda yung at least yung mga listeners natin sa podcast at saka yung mga viewers natin dito sa Pacos Place. At least when they see you're here, they know that, okay, so JJ is really part of the team. If you may tell them, what scope do you do to get this show up and running? Because it's not little, it's a lot.
Well, kung pag-uusapan natin anything to do with what's behind the camera, yung ginagawa niyan is lighting, yung setup ng lighting, nitty-gritty stuff, yung things to make this broadcast work, like height audio, wiring, everything. Tapos syempre, you have to be keen on yung kung sino, pag halimbawa nasa frame yung kinukunan, kailangan mong i-guide yun, those kind of stuff.
Pero nandun na tayo, ba't di natin simulan kung paano, why don't we start where we transformed this garage into what is now Pacos Place? Tell them all about the number of Home Depot runs we did.
Ay, grabe yun. Oo, from yung paint, yan. Which is scarce.
Like everything you see, if you're listening, you can't see the walls, but they're black and they're painted. Click on the link in the description below to take you to the YouTube video podcast. But ito, yung sinasabi ni JJ, everything that's behind us, and even the floor, no?
Yung floor nga yung isa sa mga medyo naging challenging kasi nung pumunta kami sa mga Home Depot stores, sa ibang branches wala. So we had to do like a Home Depot research tour. Most of all the Home Depots in Southern California, all the way to San Dimas, di ba? Right, oo.
Oh my God, ang layo nung lugar na yon. Tapos what our guests don't know is that we transformed this place into a virtual stage, right?
Right. Actually,
so tell them what we do.
What we started with was, of course, yun nga yung paint, di ba? We had to paint this garage differently with Jaja's vision. Ganda nga nung concept niya, it was like black walls. Before ito, pag nakita niyo yung garahe dati talaga, ibang-iba. We took pictures of the before and after, and we'll probably show
we'll post it,
on the next episode, maybe, or on the website, right?
On the website, we'll put it there. Galing, no? Tapos, ikwento mo sa kanila how you envision this whole. Right now, it looks like a podcast studio, but behind us, again, if you're listening, you don't see, we'll describe it. But behind us is my drum kit, di ba?
Oh yes. Yeah.
So, how did you make this place very ergonomical for both artists and podcast guests?
Yan. So, we're trying to keep things like modular. Kasi this area here, itong tinatawag nating Pacos Place, is not only a live venue, but also a podcast venue. So, ito tulad na ito, itong ginagamit namin ngayong table, nakaharang ngayon nga, sabi ni Paco, nakaharang sa drums.
Ayun.
So, we're trying to see if we can put some casters like wheels.
Para mas mabilis.
Para lang ma-move to na mabilis. Ma-convert.
Which is, pag tinignan mo sa isang broadcast stage or sound stage, ganun din ang ginagawa nila, di ba?
Right.
Lahat ng props talagang degulong, tulak, para at least you can strike it down and then set it up.
Yeah, like everything's on the side.
Yeah.
It's got wheels. And then when it's time to change the set, you just pull it out.
That's true.
Ganun lang siya.
Yep. Tapos, yung mga guests natin, and we've had some good guests come to the studio already,
Right.
diba? What they don't know is we actually tear down the studio after every use. Tell them all about that.
Oh, yes. Well, sa ngayon, we're still working on the wiring. So every time an artist performs, and after the performance, first you set up, of course, the cabling. And then after the performance, you have to pack up. I-roll mo yung wires talagang lahat sila. The wires, the headphones, the mics.
Imagine if we're able to just keep them where they are, right?
I know, yes. It's gonna be faster. Oh, ganun lang, parang lock and load.
If you guys have any idea how we could snake this properly, we would be forever grateful. Yung pa isa, we'd like to thank John Loveres and Julian Cook for providing our snakes for Paco's Place. However, the auxiliaries are still a problem because the auxiliaries still have to connect to our actual mixing desk. No?
Yes.
Walang snake, and so that's the issue.
So we have to find something that works for now. Pero the cables are being utilized. Lalo yung kay John, di ba?
Yeah.
It's right here, and we patched it up. May mga tape and everything.
I know. So now, to all of you who are wondering who actually what JJ's background is, that's what I brought him in front of the camera to do. Not only that, moving forward, if you're listening to the podcast and become a regular in our community, JJ is actually my co-host / wingman, and sabi nga niya, if he's not behind the camera doing technical director work, he's in front of the camera being my wingman pag may mga topics na gusto natin pag-usapan. But today, Jay, it's all about you.
Wow.
I know.
Grabe. Ano kayang tatanungin sa akin ito?
Lapit ka sa mic. Everything but that. Diba? What's your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit?
What's your favorite color? I'm sure it's not that. Anyway. Inside joke, guys.
Ano ba yun, diba?
But Jay, tell them what you do. I mean, your background in music. Tell them who you are with regard to that.
Okay, so before I got into this podcasting and this technical stuff, I started in a band called INTRoVOYS.
Okay.
And before let's backtrack a little bit more. Before I started with the band, I had a liking to the piano. Yeah, the piano.
So you're a keyboard player?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, not exactly a keyboard player. I was keen on, I like the piano sound first.
All right.
And then when my mom bought the piano and I saw it, I was little then. And then when she bought the piano and I saw the keys, oh no.
So here's my question. You said you're not a keyboard player. What's the difference between a pianist, a keyboard player, and a soundscape artist?
Oh yes, because a pianist, when you say you're a keyboard player per se, you can play solo piano and you can fill all the gaps with just your playing, just yourself.
Is that you?
I don't see myself yet as that guy, but I see myself more of a sound designer, a soundscapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sound designer,
yeah.
synthesis. Parang si Kurzweil, parang hindi. Yung tagagawa ng synthesizer naman yun.
Yeah. That's what happened after the piano when I listened to other stuff, like instrumentals, like electronic stuff, like the stuff from of course way back, vintage, like synth oriented stuff. I got myself into like keyboards. Like I said, why not buy a synthesizer? Like I was like drooling over a DX7 before.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like classic synth. And then my mom bought me a Casio, which is a
That was your first
CD1. That
synthesizer.
was my first
Analog.
It's actually a digital synth that can sound like an analog, but
All right.
before I wasn't able to further utilize that because I upgraded my synths.
What was it? The CZ1.
That's the CZ1, yes.
Oh my God, that's so that's so 80s.
vintage. That's so 80s, yes. That's what got into me that's what got me into music was the sound of the 80s, synth-oriented pop.
Tapos after that, so with INTRoVOYS, by the way, we are bandmates with INTRoVOYS, and JJ has been credited to writing most of the band's hits. And predominantly, when you say writing most of the band's hits, what was your main contribution to all these songs that became hits for INTRoVOYS?
Honestly, I haven't composed a song from top to bottom, like a complete song yet. I only contribute like bits and pieces.
But those are significant. Those are significant bits and pieces. Huh? I mean, not just your average. Add this here, add this there. Like, let's mention a song. You can listen to this on different streaming platforms and even on the INTRoVOYS website. It's called "However Which Way." Let's talk about that song, "However Which Way."
Oh yeah, that started with a riff going on in my head. Like we were at my cousin's place. He had that upright piano, and it sounded really good. So I tried that riff, and then I doodled with it, and I kept playing it over and over again. And then here comes Paco, and then he said, "Hey, that riff's good." And then he started writing
Lyrics and
thinking of lyrics, and then that song was done in like 30 minutes.
And that was it, right?
That was it.
That was it. And that's how we write songs. And we actually thought it was not going to be a hit.
Yep.
But it turned out to be our first major hit song. However Which Way.
It's unexpected, then yeah.
But those are the unexpecteds that you're pretty much good at.
Well, thank you.
Like you come up with a chord progression, or you come up with a riff, and it inspires members in the band to actually write over it.
Right.
And so we always argue that without it, there wouldn't be a song.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so the reason why I place the conversation there is because there are bands who are having difficulties divvying up writing credits. So
right.
So let's talk about that. Like when is it appropriate to give writing credits, and is it appropriate to actually take writing credits?
That's something good to ponder on.
But let's talk about it now, because I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners are pondering on the same thought. I have a friend, his name is Will Ilagan, and he actually sent me a Facebook message asking me the same thing, because he heard one of his former band's song being played on one of the streaming platforms. And he asked me, "Am I supposed to make money off of this?" You answer that.
Okay. In terms of ownership, like song ownership, if you're the one who initiated, of course, the song, then of course you own the song. If some other person collaborates with you with the song, if that part is significant enough,
Can you define that for our listeners? Okay, so if you initiated the creation of the song, technically you're the owner of the song.
Yes.
Right? So when does it become a collaboration, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it becomes a collaboration. It becomes like a part ownership of the other party who put in his contribution to the song.
When? When does it?
When it has something to do with the overall message of the song. That's one. If he or she contributes a riff that is significant to the song, that is like a pillar of the song, that the song can't. It's like when you listen to that riff, you have to listen to it again.
Or when you listen to the song and the riff is not there, you look for that riff.
Yes,
diba?
right.
So it becomes part of the song. Yeah.
That's one. And if you contribute significantly to a chorus, a lyric to the chorus, that's also one thing.
Playing the bass for a song, is that considered? Yeah.
Playing a bass for a song, if the bass suddenly makes a lead bass, makes the bass like sing like a chorus riff or something, or like an intro, then that's
like
kind of
Duff
significant.
McKagan on "Sweet Child of Mine."
Right.
Would you consider him like if you were Duff and Duff did that boom bum ba 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 ba,
That can be part of the song, yes,
Right.
because that introduced the song. That riff itself introduced the
same
song.
way Slash's intro to "Sweet Child of Mine."
Right. Yeah, that riff is being played by a lot of kids. Yeah.
Steven Adler's drums on "Sweet Child of Mine."
Steven Adler's drums, they're just supportive. There's just support instrumentation for that song, and I don't consider it like
So the answer would be no.
it's part of the arrangement.
Okay. So going back to my friend Will, I asked him, sabi ko, what did you do for the song? And then he actually told me, I played bass. So I go, I think you have a problem. Because if you only played bass, how can you actually
But what bass part did he put in?
it's just normal bass parts. Like what you said, arrangement, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Diba? Because how about adding a word? Like let's say the word is insignificant. You just added a word.
That's really iffy. If it's a word, insignificant. If it's insignificant, then
Like it doesn't change the word doesn't change the message of the song. Gets mo?
now that's based on the person who created the song in the first place, the main writer of the song.
Uh-huh.
It depends if the person would give like a certain small percentage.
Okay, so there you go. Now you're saying give. Diba kanina I was asking, is it appropriate for a contributor to ask for credits, or is he or she supposed to wait to be given writing credits?
In my opinion, it's the discretion.
closer.
It's the discretion of course, the main songwriter.
Okay.
Yeah, he or she has to give the credit to whoever gave that small input.
Right. Now, wouldn't it be best, ito naman ang sinasabi ko, wouldn't it be best if you're a band and everybody stays up late to just give writing credits to everybody?
Again, that depends on the discretion.
No. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
right.
to avoid mishaps in the future, because the way I see it, let's just say, I'm the chief songwriter, right? And you're staying up late with me to help me create the song.
Right.
You're not doing anything except everything I tell you to do. And then let's say we have a bass player and a drummer and a keyboard and another guitar player who are up with me. And it's 2 a.m. And everybody's not going home and everybody's just playing the parts I want everybody to play. Is it appropriate to give writing credits to everybody in the room who actually stayed up late up to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, or just pay them for the night and call it a day? Yeah.
I think if you're saying that
You're a band,
Yeah,
you're not a solo artist, you're
Yeah.
a band. Yeah.
If you're saying that you're just dictating to them what they're playing, it can also depend. Because there's nuances, like certain nuances to playing that germinates a seed that's in the mind of the creator, of the songwriter, the main songwriter. So that can itself lead to a creation of another part or an improvement of another part. For example, a chorus or a verse or some other part of the song. So it depends. It also depends. But if it's like played verbatim, it doesn't spark any other creative thought, then I think there's no. It's based on the discretion again of the
chief songwriter.
The chief songwriter, yeah.
Now, being part of a band, how would you define your role? Is it passive? Is it active? I mean, is everybody in the band supposed to be actively participating, or should they? What sort of dynamic do you see happening in a band? Because, like with us, you're one of the quiet ones,
yes.
right? But is it by design? Is it because there are too many loud voices in the band? I mean, share your opinion with our listeners.
Okay, so for me, I'm like an on and off switch.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are times that I need to take the back seat, and there are times that I would take command. That's how I see myself. Mm-hmm. So I would try to feel out the situation. Like if it warrants like my contribution, I would of course step up.
Right.
But if I feel that they can do it on their own, I'll let them do it themselves.
But how do you for starting bands, because your personality is more introvertish, right?
I'm more laid back.
So how do you get your point across, especially if there are egos in the room?
Oh yeah.
How advice to listeners of the podcast who are actually in the same situation you are?
Okay, my advice to musicians who have bandmates who are like the A type, the A personality, you have to sometimes yield.
Okay.
Because they can't help it. Their A personality is gonna like stick out no matter what they say. When they say okay, I can of course step back sometimes, but it's innate. It's innate in them. Like they're born A personality. So if you can yield sometimes, that's part of helping out, because it's giving way to, of course, like their ideas being brought out first. But again, if you're in a band that is like in a democracy, it's good, because if they shell out their ideas, it doesn't mean that it's verbatim. It's still up to a vote.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's subject to, of course, further rehash.
Tayo, we're in a democracy, di ba? Our band is in pseudo-democracy.
Right. Pseudo-democracy.
With oligarchs and cronies.
Cronies, huh?
So define a democratic band. How does that work? Like
a democratic band, in from how I see it, is a band that gives, of course, gives chances to each of its members to to voice out their opinions.
Like example.
Like for example, okay, songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's currently being created, so
right.
They're gonna let the other members let them know what they think of the song.
They meaning the chief writer, no?
Yeah, the chief writer, whoever first wrote the song. Right? So also on song lineups, yes, the repertoire for live shows. Yeah. Of course, the one who created the lineup would, of course,
explain.
Would show each of the members why the lineup was built that way.
Right.
And then, of course, each of the members have time to, of course, like give their opinions or contribute to, of course, improving the lineup, or sometimes shut up. If the lineup's good enough, then...
Yo, speaking of that, now let's go back to a personality, time to yield, like what you said a while ago.
Yeah.
you have ideas because you're a creative person. So when one of your bandmates, like sometimes me, sometimes Jonathan or whoever you're in a collaborative environment with, if they dominate the space, what happens to the ideas that you have in your head? Where do they go? Yun ang question ko.
So, for example, if like what you said, one dominates.
Yeah.
You'll still, if you have your ideas in your head, you still keep it.
Okay. So, kumbaga, ipa-parking lot mo yun.
Keep it. And then, when it's time to hear what they got, the whole thing, the whole shebang, if they present it to you and then you suddenly hear something that needs to be improved on, then you can suggest. And then what you have in your head is what you can probably add to what they did.
So patience is key.
Of course. Yeah. Patience is key. Sometimes you just need to sleep and
Kumbaga, just let it okay, fine. Bahala kayo sa buhay
let
nyo.
it simmer.
Yes.
Let it simmer.
Or maybe come up with a project all your own altogether.
Yes. Because
Diba?
I don't believe in like throwing away like songs.
Ideas, yes.
Ideas. No. Like especially nowadays, like technology is like so advanced. You can rehash pretty much anything. You can morph anything to another creation. So if you have like your ideas, don't throw them away. Just put them aside, and then when you get back to it, you'll see a different set of like music or sounds that you got in your head. It's like again letting it simmer. You're gonna come back to your music with a fresh set of ears, and then start from there.
Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Live shows naman. Yan ang gusto ko. Let's talk about live shows. For the live shows, what do you do in terms of preparation for the live shows? Because again, like our band, INTRoVOYS, we don't have a bass player. Right?
Yes.
We don't have a bass player. Therefore, on stage, it's a vocalist, it's a drummer, it's a keyboard player, it's a guitar player. No bass player. But you play a big role during the live shows. So I want our listeners and our viewers to know, where does your responsibilities begin? Where do they begin?
Okay, so my responsibilities for live shows are more on pre-production.
Okay.
Which means that since we don't have a bass player, I tend to create the bass lines for each of the songs that we're going to be playing. And then also the augmented keyboard parts, because I only play with one keyboard, and the other orchestrated parts come out, of course, of that playback.
Now, backing tracks, do you consider them cheating?
Backing tracks, they've been used by a lot of artists already. For me, if it helps make the show much fun and lively, then why not use it?
And it's also good if you're on a budget, right?
And if you're on a budget, the overhead is quite low because, of course, you don't need to hire more musicians.
Insurance costs are low. Because when you travel...
of course. And travel, of course.
you have to feed them.
Lodging.
All that stuff. And so you're pretty much in charge of pre-production.
Yes.
Does that mean it makes your job easier during the actual show?
Not really. Because you have, of course... A live show is not only like Sonics. You have to, of course, provide the visual cues, everything.
So you have to move.
You have to stay with the beat. You have to play with, of course, you have to play with the tracks. That's that sort of thing. You have to keep in time. Yes.
Rehearsals. Let's talk about rehearsals with regard to being an artist. What do you do to keep your game sharp?
of course,
Because you've been doing this for how long again?
oh my gosh, like 30 years
Plus.
or more, 30
Yeah.
plus. Yes.
So what do you do?
So, music is a listening art. So
Okay.
you have to keep yourself like in tune with what's being played on the radio to keep yourself current.
Right.
You have to practice, of course. Of course, not only practicing per se, like you're practicing with your instrument. You have to practice in your head.
Okay. Yes,
You have to
yes.
visualize.
Uh-huh.
That helps a lot. It's like you're thinking of what you're gonna be playing in your head first.
In my opinion, no, because you've done a great job with regard to the whole pre-production thing. It makes my job easier because in the band, I'm the drummer and I'm the guy that actually fires up all those stuff that you've created.
Right.
Right. So those are great stuff because they actually blend in with the actual organic sound.
Correct.
Not everybody understands this, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into visualizing, because when you make all these backing tracks, you assume that Vic Carpio, our guitar player, will be playing on top of the tracks that you're making, right?
Right.
So being a sound sculptor, during pre-production, what goes in your head in terms of moving frequencies and making sure there is space for the organic instruments to plow through as opposed to making it muddy?
First, like what you said, of course, there's a guitar player. That's usually the frequency that goes with the keyboard.
Right.
Sometimes that territory is the guitar and the keyboard part.
You guys
the
fight
the
over
low end is the bass and
bass
the
and
drums.
kick drum,
So,
yeah.
yeah. With that in mind, for the keyboard parts to blend in with the guitar parts, you have to think, of course, of what the guitarist or the guitar player is gonna be playing on that song.
Right.
So you have to visualize in your mind. For example, if he's gonna use a distorted tone, or he's gonna be playing sparsely or playing like almost frequently on a part of the song, you have to, of course, see which keyboard part will blend in with what he's playing. Or if you don't have that idea yet in your mind, you have to test it first on the rehearsal.
So bring it into rehearsal, play it through with the whole band,
With the whole band,
and then go back to the drawing board
and
or
go
take
back
notes
to the
and go
drawing
back.
board.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can't just do. Let me program the.
No, it doesn't work
And then
that way.
I'll see you at the venue. It doesn't work that
No,
way.
it doesn't work that way.
So it has to be tweaked until it becomes seamless and it sounds like an organic band.
Right. That's your pre-production there. And of course, sometimes the song won't be played the usual way.
Right.
You can have something like, you can put some parts in your mind, like a vamp, or sometimes like a drop, and then the song isn't played the same thing and the same way anymore.
So with regard to this, where do you do all these programming? What DAW do you use for this?
I use Logic, in
By Apple.
particular, GarageBand for sketching, and then Logic for final.
What's your process like?
My process first is, of course,
GarageBand.
Yeah, GarageBand
Sketch.
for sketching.
When you say sketching, to all of our listeners who don't understand that, explain to them. And to musicians who actually think GarageBand is a toy, actually the Edge of U2 uses GarageBand to sketch as well.
Right.
But is it a toy?
Depends on how you see it.
How do you see it?
It is both a toy and a... Because you have a lot of sounds there.
Okay.
It's like going to a candy shop.
Okay.
A candy store, I mean. Like, you can... If you have like a concrete, like a lead line, a bass line, and a rhythm, that's your sketch there.
So you start there.
You start there.
And then?
And then you tinker with the sound.
Where do you tinker with the sound? On GarageBand, or do you export to Logic? What do you do?
GarageBand first.
Still GarageBand.
Because GarageBand in itself mind you, has a lot of sounds. So if you're keen on sounds, you can start layering from those pillars, the lead line, the bass line, and the rhythm. From those pillars, you're gonna be putting in the colors.
Okay. And we're still in GarageBand, okay. So after adding in the colors,
Then you go to Logic.
okay, what do you do in Logic?
Yeah. You add the colors and you build the sections, the song sections. Everything's complete. You go to Logic.
Okay.
And then in Logic, you do the mix down.
That's when you make sure that that's when you do the sound sculpting and all that.
And Logic has even more sounds. So now, if you have that sketch in GarageBand and you bring it in Logic, you'll find out that there's even more sounds that you can have available to improve your track. So now you incorporate it more in what you have from the GarageBand song you just did.
Yeah.
And then it will sound even better.
It's so funny because after going from GarageBand to Logic, when he gives the files to me, they end up being showcased and performed on Ableton Live.
Right.
Because that's what's good for live performance naman, di ba?
The queuing and everything is there.
Yes.
Ableton.
Yes, so that's a nice thing. So that's how it works. Now, there are so many topics and ideas to talk about, but let's talk about why, after 30 years, why are you still doing this?
Because I like it. Yeah, it's what you think about every day. It's like any other passion. For example, you like painting. You wake up every day, you think of anything like visual stuff, like landscapes or subjects to paint, like drawing, like charcoal, anything. It's similar. So every day I wake up, and when a tune gets into my head, I immediately grab my phone. Like before, it was like a recorder.
Now your
I'm
phone.
on my phone, and then I create a tune. If I can't create a tune right away, then I record it on my phone.
So we're based in Los Angeles. So here in Los Angeles, who among the local Filipino American keyboard players are you? Who among them do you admire? You can name names.
He's not just a keyboard player, but he's also of course, known for his being a crooner. Like he's Brandon Flowers. He's one.
Why do you like Brandon Flowers?
I like his choices of synth sounds. Yeah, that's one.
In the Filipino circle here in Los Angeles, among the local bands.
Local bands.
Is there any in particular?
Like the ones that I've watched so far are mostly guitar oriented, so I can't name names.
Speak close to the mic.
I can't name names yet.
Sorry guys, finifigure out pa ni JJ yung mic.
Yeah.
Okay. So who else aside from Brandon Flowers? No local Filipino keyboard players in the Philippines.
In the Philippines, of course, Marvin Querido and the duo Marvin Querido and
why them? Why not Jay Durias? Why them?
Jay Durias, yes, he's good, but
Not your type.
No, although I like a little bit of R&B, but I like a little bit more of the orchestrated stuff that's being shelled out by, of course, the duo Antiporda and Querido.
It's hard, no? Kasi between Antiporda and Querido, they have a lot of sounds and a lot of ideas.
Right.
And you can't play them all in one song.
And 2 against 1.
2 against 1.
2 against 1. Yeah.
Like I encountered Joseph Cruz, who now plays keyboards with the band Hyperbeat. And me and G3 Misa, who's a guitar player, when we would jam with Joseph Cruz, we would actually say, we're not doing anything tonight. Because Joseph Cruz will do everything.
Right. Like that's an example of a pianist
Pianist.
per se. Because he can play
everything
by himself.
Like Jay Durias can play by himself.
Yeah, Jay Durias can play by himself. Yeah, right. But of course, Jimmy Anteporda and Marvin Querido can play also by themselves. But they're leaning towards the textural thing.
Yes.
Not like with playing by themselves.
Because if they wanted to, they could.
They could.
But in an environment of an ensemble, their mentality is, where can I add flavor after the bass, guitars, and drums and vocals have added their own flavors?
Right.
Tama ba?
Right. It's more of orchestrating.
Okay.
Not single piano, solo piano playing.
Now, what would you advise people who want to get into playing? Okay, again, let me define this. Playing the piano is not playing the keyboards, or is that the same? Playing the piano is not playing the synthesizers, which is more true.
Playing the piano, what's the question?
Playing the piano is like playing the keyboards, or playing the piano is not like playing synthesizers.
Playing the piano for me is not like playing the synthesizers.
Okay.
Because playing the piano in itself, if you're going to be saying piano, it's restrictive to, of course, the organic thing. The piano itself, like the hammers and the strings itself.
Or it could be an electric piano, but still the same theory applies, no?
The same theory applies, but if you delve into that area, an electric piano can sound quite different when played. Depends on how you play on it. Like there's more of that. Of course, it's electric. There's more frequencies that are coming out of it.
Okay, so that's what gets you, the frequencies.
Yes.
If the frequency can be tweaked, you want that.
Oh yes.
Okay.
But I still like the piano, of course.
Yeah, but tell the kids, tell our listeners, if they are going to dive into synthesizers, what should they anticipate?
If you're gonna dive into synthesizers, first think of what came before the synthesizers. You have to, of course, study a little bit of piano rudiments and the foundation. The foundation is important. You have to know your scales, know the musical alphabet at least, and then if you know enough, you can start. You can start with the synthesizer because the concept is a little bit similar. You're still looking at keys.
Yeah, but then again, there are knobs. Aside from keys, there are knobs.
Yeah.
Unlike with the piano, it's just keys.
Right. So
and then the only knob that's there is a slider, probably a volume knob and an on-off switch. And if it's an electric piano, right? And that's it. But with a synthesizer, there are keys and then
they're knobs. Because if you don't start with the piano and you go right away learning a synthesizer, you're still dealing with keys. You have to know the keys first and then deal with the knobs.
Okay.
But right now it's becoming like different. There's like keyboards that are not exactly like piano, like the Rolly C board.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not played the usual way you're playing the piano because the sound gets different depending on the way you position your finger at the keys. Right. It bends and does all sort of stuff like weird noises.
So if you want to be in a band and you want to play the keyboards for the band, do you buy a keyboard? Do you buy a controller? Do you buy a module? What are the first investments you need to make to be part? Do you need a MacBook or like tell our listeners, okay, I think I want to be a keyboard player like JJ. What do I need to start? What do they need to start?
To start?
Assuming they know piano already.
And they're not touring yet.
They're kids.
They're just
fresh.
First starting out.
Yes.
Right?
Or if we have parents of kids who want to be keyboard players, what should they prepare for?
What should
what gear should they
get?
Yes.
First they can start with a porta sound. You know why?
For a band situation yan, ha?
You know why?
Well, sabagay, si Tating Katindig.
Yeah, Tating uses a porta sound.
One of the best pianists here in Los Angeles, uses a porta sound. And everybody's still blown away.
I didn't mention that guy. Oh yeah, of course. Tating Katindig.
Okay.
Yeah, the Katindig. Si Boy Katindig, Tating Katindig. I like fusion.
So porta sound, ha?
Porta sound, yes. You know why?
Why?
it opens up their ears to different kinds of sounds, like the
Kasi may banks na din
different
sa...
instruments.
Okay.
Brass, orchestral, synth, woodwind, all those. And then, if their ear is accustomed to that, then they can graduate to a synthesizer.
No. But if my thing is, like, if I want to join a band and I want to be a keyboard player, so you'd recommend I get a Portasound? Should I get a Mac? Should I just get a Portasound and show up to auditions with a Portasound? How does it work?
Of course, again, it depends on the kind of band you're into.
Garage band. I mean, these are kids.
Yeah, but yeah, a Portasound can work. Yeah.
And an amplifier. Do I need an amplifier?
An amplifier? Yes.
Okay, what else do I need?
You need an amplifier. If a Portasound has speakers, believe me, you need an amplifier.
I hope you guys are writing.
Player.
I hope you guys are writing this down. By the way, speaking of what JJ was saying, if you go check out 317's video here on Pacos Plays, the keyboard player, their keyboard player Vahan, that was a glorified Portasound, right?
Yes, it is a Portasound, and he's like he kept it in a plastic bag. He was like
he was like
taking
TLC,
perfect, TLC with it, like.
but it sounded dope, and
oh yeah, it did.
And it had speakers. We had to kill the speakers because it had to go through the whole direct box thing. But
right,
yeah, so that's the Portasound. You need an amp. What else do you need?
You need an amp. You need really good set of cables.
Keyboard stand.
Yes, of course. If you're gonna integrate an iPad, yeah, right now iPads have like synth apps. You can augment your Portasound. If it has a USB, you can connect it to an iPad, and then you can have even more sounds.
Upgraded sounds, no?
Yeah, upgraded sounds. Who knows? You might be using your Portasound for a long time because especially if you're connecting it to an iPad,
correct,
which gives you another set of sounds.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll be at it for a long time then.
Wow. I never saw it that way, but you're right. That's the way it could be.
Or a laptop. When you get a laptop, you buy apps like MainStage. Yeah, MainStage. Or, of course, if you have a little bit more dough, you can buy Ableton.
I think I'm biased toward Ableton Live. Maybe that we'll save that for another topic because that is something I am very passionate about. Although it's so weird. After learning Ableton, it was easier for me to go back to Logic. If that makes sense. Because Ableton, I needed to learn it by necessity because I needed to find all the routing and the bus channels and all this. So it made it easier for me to go back to Logic.
Like, in case you're not aware, Ableton and Logic, they are both production-ready software.
There you go.
You can create full songs using any of those. Pick your weapon.
So it's basically it. Any parting words to our listeners who are interested in writing music? How do they protect their... Are you a member of ASCAP?
ASCAP? Yes, I am.
So how do... like advise them how they can protect their work, how they can collaborate with others. What would you suggest to these kids coming out right now who are pouring out music on the internet, all over the internet?
Yeah, of course. First, you have to, if you are particularly a creator, a songwriter, you have to, of course, be a member of any organization that can protect your work.
Right.
Like what you said, ASCAP. Or if you want the poor man's copyright, you can send your song to yourself, like mail it to yourself or email it to yourself to have a timestamp. And then have it probably notarized or something, and then that will protect you. Or now if you're just primarily playing songs, just doing gigs like cover songs, then that's something lesser to worry about in terms of copyright. But of course, wherever venue you're going to be playing the songs, the venue is going to play for the royalties of the songwriter.
Royalties. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Right? That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if music is your passion, of course, just keep at it. Practice, and again, you have to have lots of patience. Each person's musical growth is different.
Right.
You can't force it. It's your ear is being trained sometimes it can take a while before you learn a tune. Sometimes it's different with every individual. Sometimes some are born like savants.
Yeah.
When they hear something, they
know it right away. That's true.
Yeah. Not everyone is like perfectly gifted musically.
Correct.
So you just need patience. You just need practice. Keep listening. Keep enjoying the music. That's the bottom line.
Nice. Well, there you go, guys. That's it with Jj Buencamino of INTRoVOYS, and also part of the Pacos Place, live at Pacos Place family. If you have any comments, questions, please feel free to just post them wherever you find them. Again, before we go, special thanks to Radiant Medical Esthetics, located at 2795 West Lincoln Avenue, Unit C, Anaheim, California, 92801. Their clinic offers rejuvenating facials, cosmetic injectables, body contouring. So to book your appointment, call 714-886-2959. Again, 714-886-2959, and tell them Paco or Janelle referred you to get the live at Pacos Place discount. Now, you may also visit them on the web at radiantbeautymd.com. Jay?
Also, this episode is brought to you by LDS Systems Inc. If you own a business and would like to build your back office to scale with your business growth, give LDS Systems a call to book your consultation. They aren't just an IT company, but a leader in dedicated solutions for your business. Give them a call at 800-783-8987 or visit them on the web at ldssystems.com.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast or the channel, please feel free to do so. Again, our commitment is to deliver all these content that can help your growth, whether in life, in music, or both. So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
And we hope to catch you on the next podcast.